This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good Saturday morning, everybody. Welcome to 757 Saturday Sports Talk with the Coach Ed Young. This is Groucho Marx. Like, share, and subscribe to Cove Sports TV as we talk to you about what's happening in the world of sports. Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Oh, and I got to get my dog this. Come here, Bear. Come here. You got to see this nut job I'm working with. Come here. Come on. He don't want to see you. Come on. Look. See what I'm dealing with? This is what I got to deal with. I know you don't want to look. He's scary. Okay, my agent will have a call soon. Okay, yeah, I love you too. All right. This is Bear for those who don't know. And I don't know who the hell this is that I'm working with. I don't know who I'm working with now. This is not in my contract. This is why we're not on radio. TV won't have us.
You're on Cove Sports TV. What are you talking about? Cove Sports TV. Coach.
This is what I face early morning after exhausting game. I got to see this.
Exhausting game? What was your exhausting? Tell us about your exhausting game last night, Coach.
We got smacked by, I forget the score. I think it was 20 to Kings Fork. But we had some good moments. Led the game early. Came out with great fire in front of a giant crowd. And third quarter, we had our come to Jesus meeting at halftime and came out. I think it was an 8-0 run. We got within 5. It was 45-40, crowded, electric. We got Kings Fork to call a timeout. But we made some mistakes, and it's so hard to compete with them up on the boards. They're so aggressive on the glass. And the kid Boston can really shoot it. He ended up with 18, and I believe most of them were all threes. And he hit a couple from deep, and a couple we actually fouled him, and they didn't call it. Because I told our kids just to be as aggressive as all get out. If you foul him, you foul him. And he still hit those shots. So he proved last night he was, I think, a bona fide Division I player. I'm not sure what level, but he can really shoot under pressure. So we gave it a great try. We had fouled in the end, and that increased the score. But completely different than the first time we played them. They had us beat from pillar to post the first time we played them. Not this time, but we regrouped. We got Grassfield in our last regular season game Tuesday at home, and then it's playoff time, and we'll find out where all the dust settles and who we play. And of course, the first round is at Norview, and I understand somebody has told me, it might have been my partner Hatfield, that it could be Norview in the first round. So we'll see.
Okay, we'll go through some of the playoff projections for the multiple regions across the Hatfield area.
Are you taking cold medicine? Did you fall and bump your head? Are you under the witness protection program? What is it with the cost, the mask?
It's just a new look. That's all.
See, and people wonder why I am like I am. This is one of the reasons. It's just not normal. My life is filled with things that are not normal, and people think I'm abnormal. Am I right? I'm right. Yep. This is what I'm dealing with. Yep. Benny is my this is the guy that he's my legal counsel. He can't believe it either. It's just the way it is. All right. Go call our staff and make sure we can take care of this. Okay.
How many people in the audience do you think know who Groucho Marx is, by the way?
Zero.
I have no idea who Groucho Marx. What about Harpo?
And the two people that are listening just left.
No, so we got 3 now.
This is the problems we have. We're going to lose advertisers. It's unbelievable. It's not in my contract.
I think they'll find it very riveting.
Hey, just like money, it's not in my contract. We got to get.
Oh, okay. Hey, speaking of money in the bank, we've got some special guests today. We've got Frankie Chapman getting ready to join us, top of the hour. He is the head basketball coach where, Edward?
Pauldy Camp Community College, Camp College. It is a new program, 2-year program in Suffolk. I've had the opportunity to see them play a couple of times. They're good. He has put together a really good team, predominantly local kids. He has a stud in the middle who's not a Virginia kid. He's a Pennsylvania kid. And he happens to have one of my young men, Jalen Duckett, one of his starting guards, who's having a really good year for him. And most people don't know about him. They play their home games at Lakeland. And I'm telling you, Frankie's done a tremendous job with this team. I think it's the third college program he has started. It's a unique thing that he does, that he bounces around a couple places when he needs to start up a new program. Everybody wants him because he's made every program he's been with an instant winner. So we get Frankie on. He's a former high school coach. In fact, that's the gentleman I replaced at Nazareth River, a very successful high school coach, and once upon a time a high school player himself at John F. Kennedy, famed John F. Kennedy in Suffolk.
And we'll get Matt Hatfield back for Groucho Marx for that segment. We've also got coming on the show later another special guest, and that is none other than Shireen Williams. She of NBC Sports Pro Football Talk. She'll give us the breakdown. She is in Sin City, Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58, Chiefs and 49ers. So a lot to go over about that. We do have a couple of local names, if you will, flavor in that game. Cole Christensen, Ed, a linebacker from Nansman Suffolk Academy, as well as Derek Noddy, defensive lineman from Ocean Lakes High in Virginia Beach. Unfortunately for Noddy, the last time they played, he was a factor. This time he's dinged up, injured. Christensen does, been playing some special teams, some linebacker. So good to see a couple of young men from the 757 have a chance to get themselves a ring coming up this weekend against the San Francisco 49ers, who remain a slight favorite. And we'll do our picks at the end, as Bruce Pearl's already sent in his picks, including on the coin toss, heads or tails. We'll get our selections on who wins the game outright, maybe an MVP pick too, as all the Swifties will be out there watching in full blast out there in Las Vegas, Nevada, which at last check we heard was in Ed Young's top 5 cities in America, but not number 1. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know who I want to put in number 1 right yet, but Vegas is a destination for me always.
We always know you love Charlotte.
Charlotte is that's one is probably a little bit more closer to my heart, and it's closer to go to. I could drive there. Vegas, you fly in, and boy, when you fly over the city of Vegas and you first get there, and planes move and drop into the air turbulence. That's not a fun feeling. But I love Vegas. Vegas, Sin City is tremendous. The city that never sleeps. I usually get about 2 hours of sleep when I go there. That's a city that made me do a zip line. I actually did a zip line of about 100 yards, I think it was, about 200 feet in the air. I wasn't drinking any alcoholic beverages. I just decided to do it out of a dare. When you're in Vegas, you do what Vegas people do.
All right, that's what you do when you're in Vegas. You do what Vegas people do. That's what the coach said.
I wish we could do a show from Vegas. Take this on the road all the way to Vegas, and
that could be dangerous.
Interview some of the people in Vegas. They're interesting people in Vegas.
There are. I
sometimes say there are more foreign people, if I'm allowed to use that term, not from this country. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's when you would think there would be more Americans, but it seems like there's more European, foreign people there. And then some of the people that are there from the America I'm not sure they're from this planet, though. They claim they're Americans, but I don't think they're from this planet. Vegas is fun. If you've never done it, go. I'm not a big gambler. I'll bring a little bit, and then once the coin is gone, and it is coin, not paper, I'm done. It's buffet city for me. You would lose your mind in Vegas.
Well, speaking of buffet city and speaking of the Super Bowl, you know who we were able to wrangle through one of our connections. We were able to catch up with, thanks to ABC 10's Kevin John from Sacramento. I know you respect great coaches because you're one yourself with over 500 wins. Andy Reid, I know you think a lot of him, right? Head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you want to hear what Andy told Kevin? Give him about 92 seconds the other day.
Yeah, I got to hear it.
Right, here it is with Andy Reid talking with Kevin John of ABC 10 from Sacramento here on Cova Sports TV. Let's give it a listen and a watch.
Coming to Super Bowls and coaching Super Bowls, this is almost like second nature to you.
That's right. Kind of like going to a Vegas buffet.
Absolutely. Did you have any cheeseburgers there?
Well, I've been looking for the best cheeseburger in Vegas, that's for sure.
And have you found it yet?
Not quite yet. Still on the prowl.
So, obviously you have a quarterback who's already won 2 Super Bowls going against a quarterback who's playing in a Super Bowl for the first time. What are you saying to motivate your guys at this point in time?
Well, these guys are professionals. They've been at it for a long time. I don't think we have to say anything. We just got to execute the game plan.
You've been coaching a long time. Is there one specific year with Eagles or the Chiefs that sticks out to you the most?
That's right. It's the next year.
The next year, absolutely. Now, there's a lot of pressure on Kansas City to win this just because you guys are defending Super Bowl champs. You've been here 4 times in the last 5 years, but San Francisco is loaded. How are you going to contain them?
Hey, don't worry about it. We've got a plan. We've got the best defensive coordinator in all of football. So we got this, baby.
Well, good luck finding the perfect cheeseburger out here. If you know it, are you going to let us know?
I'll let the world know. You'll see it out there on the sphere, baby.
And what is your prediction for the Super Bowl?
I don't like to predict anything. Look forward to the challenge of playing San Francisco 49ers, well-coached team, and it's going to be a great game, great atmosphere.
Coach Reed, thank you so much. Really appreciate this time.
Take care, guys.
So there you have it. That was Andy Reid catching up with Kevin John out there. Pretty neat, huh?
Is that the real Andy Reid? It cannot.
Got you fooled.
No,
Got you fooled, huh?
I knew it wasn't.
Ed has to ask and wonder.
I knew it wasn't. The first minute I saw the chewing of the gum and the snappy answers, I said, that's not Andy Reid. First of all, he's not going to do that interview. And then when he's talking about the favorite cheeseburgers, and Andy Reid is easy to impersonate. There are a lot of Andy Reid impersonators. So
oh my goodness.
I would say 20 seconds into the interview, I said, that's not the real Andy Reid.
He thought for a moment there. I mean, he got him pretty good.
Yeah, that's
which is our question of the day. Better impression. Which is a better impression?
Andy Reid. Andy Reid.
All day?
Yeah, all day. Andy Reid. Yeah.
Not my route today, huh?
I mean, it's the Marks. Maybe if you had the Groucho Marx hair, or like his brother Harpo. Harpo's hair was.
You gotta fix the mustache a little bit. It's all over the place right now. More like Luigi or Super Mario from the Mario.
Yeah, I would say you would hit Super Mario well. Yeah, that would be a
Mamma
good
Mia.
one. Yeah, I would like to do the one where the one where you have they have like the big hammers and they're hitting Super Mario. I think it's
you're talking about
Donkey Kong. Yes,
Donkey Kong.
I would like to have the big hammer, and every time you pop up, I get to smash you on the head with the hammer. We got to get somebody.
Now you're giving our graphics team something to work with for next week.
Man, that would be great.
That's not good.
If somebody can make a game,
oh no,
Young Kong, where I get to smash Hatfield when he pops out of the hole, I get points. But if he gets all the way to the end, of course, he wins and gets the points. I've got to wonder if we can do that. Oh, Vinny's back. Vinny, check on that if we can get something going. Maybe Hasbro Sports or Milton Bradley, whoever does the sports, could get us a game. That'd be tremendous.
Okay, that would be tremendous. All right. Well, before we take a timeout, want to get your quick thoughts on. Last week we had Andrew Jones on the show as well as Evan Key. If you missed any of that, it's up on our podcast page available for you on Cova Sports TV. Scroll it through our YouTube podcast page. And also it's on VirginiaPreps.com where we stream each and every week. 757 Sports Talk on Twitter or X and on Facebook through Cova Sports TV and the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Thanks to the great folks at Hometown Sports Productions. Anything grab you in the past week, sports, as we've built up to the Super Bowl? And I know you're getting closer to the high school basketball playoff time, which we'll be spending a little bit of our time on this morning as well.
Well, as I said before, when we get in the season, heart of the season, my attention really goes towards our team. And I'm looking at a lot of film if I'm not actually at games. And, of course, my schoolwork takes up a ton of time. But I do try to browse on the TV, try to see what the latest talk is and what's going on. Of course, the Super Bowl dominates. A lot of people love the extra week between the divisional conference championship and Super Bowl. I don't. I think football lasts too long. February 11th, here we are playing the Super Bowl. I think football should be done in January. Seasons are too long in most sports, but it's money. It's drawn out. I understand why. It's funny how, maybe I'm wrong, but I've noticed last week at this time, or the conference championships were done, it looked like San Francisco was a prohibited favorite. And I understand they're still a favorite, but all the talk I've heard on all the shows, all the talking heads, it's Kansas City this, Kansas City that. They got the better coach. They got the better quarterback. They got the better defense, which I thought Kansas City defense was one of the worst in the league. San Francisco was great, but now I've been brainwashed to believe they got one of the best. defenses. So the Super Bowl talk has taken obviously a whole lot of it. And sneaking in behind is baseball. The pitchers and catchers are going to be reporting in a couple weeks. The last few signings in free agency, a couple trades. The Orioles, of course, we talked about it last week. The big pickup in getting Corbin Burns from Milwaukee, maybe one of the biggest acquisitions in the hot stove league this offseason. Basketball, of course, there was a slew of trades with their deadline that came and went quickly. I do think a little point, Doc Rivers is going to coach the All-Star game because he's the Milwaukee coach now. He's 1-4, 2-5 or something.
Yeah, they beat the Hornets pretty handily last night.
Everybody beats them.
We got to win.
But I don't think he should be. They should let Adrian Griffin coach it, even though he's not active coach right now. He deserved it. He was 130-15 to get that record there, or go to the next best record guy. That's just a small thing, but it's something I looked at. And even my crazy sport of pro wrestling, The Rock has made his appearance, and there's some shenanigans going on with The Rock. He was supposed to face his cousin, Roman Reigns, is a real true life cousin.
Really?
Like he's signing with him. The WWE has come up with a nice storyline. People don't know what the heck is going on, and that's what pro wrestling is all about, storylines. It's whole entertainment with actors who are athletes. But so I've kind of scurried around and looked at a lot of different things. It is a good time of sports season. Football ending, which a lot of people hate because there will be no active games until the new league, the USFL, XFL has joined forces. I think they start playing in March next month, I think.
That sounds about right.
Yep. So they'll start playing, which whets some people's appetite. It's not NFL, but they'll have guys that'll eventually go into the NFL, get a shot at the NFL. But no, this ain't like the USFL of old where they stole players from the NFL, where they actually signed guys out of college, Herschel Walker, Steve Young, who ended up going to the NFL and becoming some of them becoming Hall of Famers.
All right, well, we got an interview from last Saturday night over at Kings Fork in the Holiday Showcase. Eric Brown of the Hampton Crabbers, Ed, top-ranked team now in the area, according to the local newspaper. They've got the Crabbers won. We've got a number 2 in the state on VirginiaPreps.com in Class 4. They handed Kings Fork its first home loss in an awful long time. In fact, the last time Kings Fork had lost a home game, you have to go back to, we're talking 5 years. They had won 44 straight at home, and we caught up with the head man of the Crabbers, Eric Brown. Would you like to give it a listen?
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, was that last loss to Nansemond River?
Last regular season home loss was Nansemond River. Last in general home loss was Churchland in the regional semis. So you're in the mix of that. They'd also suffered back-to-back losses for the first time since losing to both the Warriors and Lakeland. They're Suffolk rivals. So let's give it a listen. Eric Brown of the Crabbers last Saturday night with us on Cova Sports TV.
All right, here with Hampton Head basketball coach Eric Burness. Crabbers win at 57-54 over the Kings Fork Bulldogs to move to now 16-2 on the season. Coach, tell us about this win tonight. You guys were down 10 in the second half. How did you battle back to get it done when it looked like it was pretty bleak for you there?
I think experience. We were down 13 late against Minchville. Mm-hmm. We came back from that, so the guys really, they know what to do late in the game. So been down late a couple games, and the guys respond. We change up things, try to make guys adjust, and the kids right now are kind of used to that. That's how we practice. If we get down, we practice those situations, and they just responded. They still got to make the plays. They played a hell of a team, and they still got to make the plays, and they made them again.
You mentioned having some tough games. You played Minchville, came back and won that one. Patriot in your holiday tournament also had a tough loss. We saw the overtime to Woodside a couple weeks back. But tonight, speak on just the performance of Deron Ball. 23 points. I think that might be the season high for him. He really stepped up for you in crunch time. At
yeah, 4-year guy. Deron, he's our leader. He's one of our leaders, one of our captains. He's been with me the longest. I trust him more than anybody out there. And he likes this building. We played Heritage last year, even though Heritage got us. He had a 20-point game that game. He played well. And I told somebody, I said, I feel like, Deron's going to have a good game. I thought they really were overly focused on Malik. And I think they didn't respect DB until he got going.
Yeah.
And then they started paying him that respect. But DB can score the ball. He really plays off the ball screens. But I thought he led us when them guys were in foul trouble. He kept us right there. And we had 3 guys with 2 and 3 fouls to get us through that first half and keep the game close, because they got that spurt ability. The way they play, they spurt you out, and you got to keep responding. And I just thought Deron, he just led, man. He played a hell of a game. Probably one of his best, if not his best game at Hampton High School.
Mm-hmm. What's racing through your mind? Because it was a physical game. Both teams with guys in foul trouble. Darius Boston for them. You have it, obviously, Gavin Kay and Malik Johnson with 4 fouls into that fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Were you thinking there, if you had it tied at the end, maybe with a minute to go, to try to hold for a last shot? What's kind of going through your mind there? As I know you used that last time out with about 30 seconds to go.
You mean if we had it?
Yeah. Were you thinking what was going through your mind?
At that point, they're so good defensively. Sometimes you got to just take the best shot.
Sure.
You got to take the best shot. So, we wanted to keep the ball in Deron's hands and make them overreact to him, however it was going to go. He made the play, and then he got to the line, of course, and he finished. But sometimes we thinking of holding it. But sometimes, when you're playing a good defensive team, I think you just get the best shot. Because if you hold it too long, something might happen.
Sure.
So, if they give you a chance to get a good shot, they make a mistake on defense and you can get a good shot. Mm-hmm. Just take the good shot. And then you just got to play defense yourself.
Come on, Fred. I thought number 0, Abraham Taft. We talked about it back at the Iverson Holiday Showcase event. He was a Swiss Army knife. And tonight his versatility, thought he really stepped up for you late in the third, early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
got going.
We got on him. I got on the guys pretty, I got on them kind of hard at halftime because I told them the game was going to be physical. I told them they was going to have to finish inside. I told them everything that happened in the first half, I told them they was going to happen. Okay, when you come over here to play, you got to play. Even back when I was in school, we used to come over here and play open gym with their assistant principal. Brian, we come over here and play open gym, and it's rockets, and it's rough. And I said, man, when you come to Suffolk to play, I said, bro, they bumping and grinding over here. And, you got to finish inside. They're going to let you get hit every now and then. So I really jumped him. And Abe, he's the type of kid that will respond, because he's still working on his experience. He's on his sophomore. So he's still experiencing these big games. And, he did a hell of a job. I thought the second half, he did a little bit of everything. Got tip ins, he posted up, got to the line, made his free throws. Then he guarded. He got great steals at timely time, especially that one he got in the open court. So I'm super proud of him.
And lastly, part of the storyline is that Kings Fork falls for the second straight game. They lost the buzzer beater to Oscar Smith. They haven't had back-to-back losses, I think, in 5 years. But for you all to be now 16-2, marching towards possibly the number 1 seed in Region 4A, and I know you have goals of competing for the regional and state championship in Class 4. What's this win in this environment do for your squad as you get closer to that playoff start here?
It's outstanding. We scheduled it for this time. Rick called me. He said, will y'all play us? I said, absolutely. I said, February game, it's like a playoff game. We got to turn around Tuesday, play another one that's going to be like a playoff game against Minchfield. But I went into the game, I don't know if you remember, like we did when we went into Norcom. It was their event. I had Marquise, knew them guys, and same thing I heard when we walked in here. But what y'all gonna do? What y'all gonna do? And I felt like, the way some people would ask me was like kind of like a slap in the face, like we ain't really have a chance. You know what I'm saying? So, I let the kids know, I said, I don't know the last time they lost in here, but I know when that year, you the one that told me they hadn't lost in 3 or 4 years. You know what I'm saying? I told the kids, you got a chance to do something special. I said, I know they probably ain't lost back-to-back games, and I don't know when, just by me knowing Rick. You know what I'm saying? So, I was like, y'all got a chance to do something special. Just coming in the building, like this is a true road game. Just a true road playoff atmosphere game. It ain't a neutral site. You coming in their gym, and their goals, you got to play. And I thought second half, we responded. They played together, and I'm proud of them.
Well, great comeback win. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thanks.
So that was last Saturday night over in Kings Fork High School in Suffolk. Hampton Crabbers beating Kings Fork, snapping their 44-game home winning streak. The Bulldogs did respond on Friday night, beating Ed's Warriors over there in Suffolk. Had a big second quarter surge to seize control in that one, 65-47. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Coming up, we've got Franklin Chapman, head men's basketball coach at Paul D. Camp Community College, who is waiting patiently to come on with us come on with us, Ed. Before we take a break, though, your quick thoughts on Coach Brown. The Crabbers now looking like a team in Class 4 that could make a run. We've talked about Lansdowne last week, Dwight Robinson getting his 400th win. A team in Class 6 that will be vying for it, along with Oscar Smith and some others. Class 5, your division, it's got a lot of contenders, including reigning state champion Woodside. Kempsville's playing well under Darren Sanderlin, almost overcame a 29-point deficit, actually erased it against Lansdowne before falling in overtime. Maury, Kings Fork, among others. Looks like the Crabbers could be a team that can go far into March.
I think Region 4, they have put themselves in a situation. They play a complete game. Half-court offense is good. They're a transition team. They can score in transition. And what Eric prides himself in is solid, hard defense. I set baseline for that game, as you well know, as you were doing your write-ups and your pictures. And the intensity of that game, you could feel it. And I remember when he referenced assistant principal Bryant, he's actually the principal at Kings Fork, Derek Bryant, former Suffolk great
Coach
player.
with you for a little while as an assistant, right?
He was a great player at Norfolk State, and then he was assistant with me for a few years. Played pro ball over in Spain. Was tremendous over there. Everything in Spain, and but now he's been the principal 4 or 5 years now at Kings Fork, and he's done a tremendous job. But Eric referenced back in the day when Derek was a player. Eric was a player, the open runs in the early years of Kings Fork. And they were, I didn't play in them. I know my role, but I would watch, I'd go over there. We have some of our young kids because the young kids would play too. And it is a battle, but you get that in Hampton, you get that in Norfolk, you can get it in Virginia Beach. But the atmosphere of Kings Fork and Hampton, and what a great crowd. There was a lot of games that night. Menchfield played Peninsula Catholic right after. And
Woodside played Peninsula Catholic.
Woodside.
Yeah.
Woodside.
Menchfield played Lake Taylor. Yeah.
And let me just say that, Hampton will be there. Eric has done a tremendous job taking over for Walt Brower a few years back. Walt, one of the absolute legendary coaches in the state, a guy well over 500 wins and great Crabber teams. And Eric's a tough guy to go against because he really schemes. He's a guy that'll make changes. You've got to be on your game. And there's a lot of coaches I can't say that about. When I retire, I'll name names, but not right now. But he's a tough one. And I had the unfortunate to go against that Kings Fork physicalness, intensity, and the things that Hampton was able to overcome. I couldn't last night with our guys. We don't have that same type of team. We're not a physical team. They spread us out. They would get us on a drive with Lucas, the big boy, and Dart, and the other big fella inside scoring. Or when we shut the middle down, took a couple charges, Boston would pop that three. We tried different defenses to keep them off guard. And again, they can figure it out. And once they figure it out, you got to be ready to do some different things as you move into playoffs. That's the type of things teams do in the playoffs, and that's how we're trying to get ourselves situated. Now, I do want to make a side comment because there was a lot of speculation. I think
because we got Coach Shetman waiting patiently for us. We need to take a break. Go ahead.
Woodside Peninsula Catholic was a tremendous game.
Yes.
And Woodside lost the first game of the year. And it's amazing how many people are saying Woodside's not the best anymore. Let me just say my 2 cents. Okay. Woodside's the best team in the area. They're one of the top teams in the state, and they're the odds-on favorite to win the Region 5 state title, I believe.
And they did beat the Crabbers twice, one of which was in overtime. So.
Yes. And I'm not – that's not to disparage any word you want to use about Hampton. They have a tremendous shot at winning the 4 title. My money's on them, period. I don't even know everybody's in 4.
Well, Varina's in 4. They might have something to say.
That would be – that's another – I want to get a baseline sheet for that game. But Woodside is very good. And I think if they play Peninsula Catholic 5 times, they win at least 3. At least 3, if not 4. Okay. And I'm not going to – and the Peninsula Catholic people –
you're making friends with the Crabbers and Peninsula Catholic this morning.
No, they're good. They go 6 deep, and that's it. I mean, that's all they have, but they're a good 6. And they're good at the level they play and what they've recruited for to play, but they're not overall better than Woodside. They did a tremendous job in that game and took away all of Woodside's weapons for that game. Sure. But Woodside's a better team.
Let's quickly hear from our sponsors and come back with Franklin Chapman here on Cova Sports TV.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all. right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
Man, I wish I was out there. Let's unretire. Why not?
Randy Moss. Dan Marino? You all right? Hey, Grandpa! Grandpa? I still got it. 22. 22. Career game number 13. Let's see. Hey. I need that senior discount. That's the game. Mr. Marino, you mind if I take a selfie? Thank you.
I'm good right here, bro.
Unretirement? Who'd be dumb enough to do that?
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and that evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And we welcome you back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk, streaming all over the web, Cova Sports TV, our YouTube channel, VirginiaPreps.com, 757 Sports Talk on Twitter or X, Facebook as well. And we are delighted to be joined by the head men's basketball coach at Paul D. Camp Community College. Ed gave him a little bit of a background earlier, over 120 victories in his college coaching career, was at American National University. He coached at Stratford University in Newport News. Also was at the Apprentice School, head men's basketball coach there, was coaching at Nansemond River High School before Coach Young, coached a guy by the name of Marquis Cook. People remember him. He's been on the Boo Williams travel circuit. He's got a great background, and we say hello this morning to Coach Chapman, Franklin Chapman with us here. Coach, how you been?
I'm fine. Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good morning, Frank. Good morning. Good morning.
And I think I left out another important piece. Were you not an assistant principal as well for a little while after your coaching career at Nansemond River?
Oh yeah, that's what kind of happened. I got into administration and then started really missing basketball, and so I ended up going to the CSAP program because they allow administrators to coach as well.
Sure.
So I'm still in administration. I'm a principal for alternative school, okay. But it allows me to coach as well. So living the best of both worlds right now. So
that's awesome. Well, and you're helping the youth in so many ways, which is tremendous to see. And I do want to know, besides the young men and women that do get called down to the office, how many times did you have to call Ed Young down to the office?
Oh, never. Like
I don't believe that for a moment.
So the thing is, I remember when I decided to step down and Mr. Mr. McLemore, has a couple people interested in the job, and but when Ed Young name came across the desk, I said, "Shit, excuse me, I don't even mean to curse." I said,
"You're on a podcast, Frank. It's okay."
Okay, it's a no-brainer if Ed is interested, and he's done an amazing job there, and so I want to thank you for keeping up the tradition at Nansemond. You carried the torch a long ways. So I don't know who will ever replace you, but good luck to him.
Trust me, I'm replaceable, and it's very easy to replace. And the only thing I'm mad about so far is we couldn't get to more regional attempts. We're in here again this year, but it's that division is such a tough division. But Frankie, I want people to really know your background. Can we go back to your high school days? Because Matt, I don't know if Matt knows this. This guy was a pain in my butt as a player.
Oh,
I had to coach against this guy. This guy, The reason he's a successful coach, if people ever saw him as a player, he just did all the dirty things, the little things that nobody wanted to do. He was just a pain. Defensively, took charges. He's in the stand saving basketballs. He was a coach on the floor. I mean, he was in our scouting report. But Frankie, go ahead. Let people know from your high school days all the way up to where you're at right now.
Okay, yeah. I actually played at John F. Kennedy High School, like Coach Young said. It was a long time ago, and we would definitely have to play Suffolk High where Coach was, and that was always a tough feat because they were always so good, so well coached, and they had a guy named Tony Smith on that team as well. So those are the good old days when you had to really lace them up and come ready to play. Coach Young?
After Kennedy, let's go after Kennedy.
Okay, so yeah, the John F. Kennedy thing was amazing. People think the Christmas tournament and all this stuff is big now. Back then, that was the thing when we did the Christmas tournament, and you always had to compete against Suffolk High. So after that, I actually went and played at Virginia State University under Coach Harold Dean, and God rest his soul, he just passed away last week. Lost another great soldier, great basketball coach, and Coach Harold Dean at Virginia State University. I actually started my coaching career at Petersburg High School and then went to Matoka High School. And then I was afforded the opportunity to come back home to be assistant coach under Shavaz Mabry. And then once that happened, I had the opportunity to become the head coach at Nansemond River. That's up to my high school career. I coached Marky Cook, ended up coaching at Nansemond Suffolk Academy. So I've been around the block a few times, but still feel like I have something to offer to this game.
My thing, Frankie, go ahead, Ed. What's interesting is you, and Matt alluded to it on the introduction, that you've been at some schools that you've actually started the programs. And that's not an easy task. I mean, you're going from the bottom and trying to hurry up and get up to the top team that's been established. Most people don't want that because it's almost guaranteed losing for a bit. In a lot of situations, that coach, when he finally does leave, probably has a losing record, but he's established a foundation. You've actually taken that myth away. Tell us about how you've done that and why it attracts you to start programs.
Well, the biggest thing is it's Hampton Roads area is a hotbed, right? We have some amazing, talented basketball players in this area. And what I looked at was the opportunity that so many kids are not getting. And in saying that, I reached out I knew a couple of friends that were actually school presidents and different things. And, I presented the opportunity to help some young people. And here at camp, they were excited about that. So the opportunity to bring in kids, to give them the opportunity to play college basketball and highlight their talent is just amazing, right? We have kids that some other people never thought would be successful at the college level. We have kids that our program is made of different kids. We have a lot of local. 95% of my kids are from 98% of my kids are from the Hampton Roads area. 4 out of 5 of my starters are Suffolk and Western Branch. So we believe in giving these local kids the opportunity to highlight their talent.
Coach, I want to know, going back a moment here, and we're talking with Franklin Chapman. He's the head men's basketball coach at Paul D. Camp Community College, our guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk, streaming on Cova Sports TV and all over the web, Facebook, YouTube, VirginiaPreps.com, and through X or Twitter at 757 Sports Talk. You got a chance to coach Marky Cook, which is one of the revered names in the Hampton Roads basketball scene in the last 30, 40 years here. What was it like to coach him? And just is he at the top? I imagine certainly near the top, if not at the top of the list of players and great athletes you've coached over the years.
Well, I think sometimes Marquis got a bad name because, sometimes we don't end up what people think we should end up, right? And that was one of those things because everyone looked at him as being the next guy, NBA guy, right? But at the end of the day, I believe that it's our job to make sure people are productive citizens. And that's what I would definitely say about Marquis Cook at this time. I still talk to him 3 or 4 times a week. He comes out sometimes to our practice. It's rare that he misses any of our home games. He's very supportive. Marquis was probably he was one of the most highly recruited kids ever out of Suffolk. I can recall from having like all the ACC schools to the SEC schools recruiting him. You know, he went to NBA camp, the NBA Top 100 camp. He went to the Olympic Festival camp. He went to most of the Nike camps. He was a heck of a talent. But sometimes things don't always work out the way we think they should work out. But at the end of the day, he's still being productive right now. He's holding a job. He's taking care of his son. He's helping kids in the community with teaching basketball. And so I really appreciate him for being a good person.
That's terrific. Ed?
Well, you mentioned Marquis, and my 2 cents about Marquis. I watched him from a distance, and I came in after the year he graduated. And you had stepped up to administration. Marquis was just a tough high school kid, similar to Michael Evans, who I had I'll say pleasure now. At the time, it was not pleasure to coach against him live, because Mike can affect the game at all levels. Offense, defense, slow down, fast break, strategy. You had a really game plan for him. Marquis was that way. Marquis was one of the strongest high school kids, physical at his position. And of course, the bad side with Marquis was the stuff that happened at Virginia Tech. Him and Seth Greenberg not seeing eye to eye, and kind of allowed he had to go on his own at that point, and then he went on to a couple different schools, and some things didn't work out for him. And as you said, Frank, you put it right. Sometimes things don't work out the way we want them to work out for somebody. We're not in that somebody's shoes.
Right.
And you and I, as coaches through the years, we have lived that with different kids. And you made a great comment. As long as they are productive in what they're doing their day to day. Okay, they didn't go to the NBA.
Right.
They didn't have a lucrative college situation like NIL deals now, which Marquis obviously when he was there didn't have that. But are they being productive now? And that's our worry as coaches when our kids leave us. Are they still okay? The guy might be 25, 28, 38, 40 years old. Is he okay with the kids? Is he holding down a job, family situation? People don't understand that. We get ridiculed, thrown out. We told we suck, can't coach, don't play this kid, can't play that kid. And you got to let that stuff slide because that's minor. And like I always tell young coaches, consider the source and continue on.
Right. And it's very important that people recognize what our roles are, like the impact that the sacrifice that we make for other people's children is second to none, and then have to deal with some of the ridicule that comes with it. That's why when I see coaches like Coach Young that's been around for a while that's really trying to make an impact on young people's life, I still want to celebrate that because it's not easy. It's not easy being a coach now because people think they know and they think that they know how to get to that next level. And it's not as easy as people think it is.
You're right. I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, and one more thing, Matt. I'm going to let you continue on. And one thing, too, Frankie, I think in our business, I'm one of the old heads, old school, been told numerous times that old way don't work.
Right.
And, we're still averaging 14, 15 wins a year. I think it's working. But I don't think coaches will last as long as you and I have done because of the problem. And nowadays, kids, parents will move a kid in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. Back in the day when you played, I played even before you. Coach yelled at you, and you deserve it. Now, what do you want to do? Quit because you're not going nowhere else. You got to make it work. Now it's okay. We got options, and they move their kid around, and they fail to look at the real problem in the mirror. And sometimes that problem is at home. So that's an issue. And the other bad thing is, I think back in the day there was more integrity among coaches. You respected each other's ground. Now you banged heads, but you kind of respected their ground. Now. That's not true. Some of these young bucks out there figure they'll recruit players at the drop of a dime. They'll shake your hand in front of your face, try to steal players behind your back, talk to AAU coaches will talk to kids without talking to the high school coach. They don't feel they own that. The respect factor is gone. I think that's changed the game of coaching a lot, and people don't want to talk about that. But again, me being outspoken and older, I bring that out, and that's just something I've noticed.
Yeah, and it's a boundary issue, right? Where kids they feel they have rights to certain things, and you're right, Coach. Like I just believe that the kids haven't changed, the adults changed, and so the adults start allowing kids to do certain things, and they start making promises and all this stuff. It's kind of wrecking our game, but I stick with it because it's the game that helped change my life, and so I'm going to coach as long as I can, because I want to continue to try to make an impact on young people.
That's great. In our final few minutes with Franklin Chapman, he's the head men's basketball coach at Paul D. Camp Community College, here with us on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. What would you like to share about your relatively new situation and challenge there at Paul D. Camp in terms of what it's like there, the level of competition, the recruiting challenges, and how you deal with it as far as your philosophy goes, and what people are going to see when they come out to watch your squad play?
Well, it's going well. We are actually ranked number 12th in the country right now. Now it's a JUCO D3. We are in Region 10. Our current record is 14-4. We out of the 4 games, we probably should have won 2 of them, so we probably should be 16-2. But my guys are really buying in. The biggest piece that we talk about is just having connectivity, right? Because that's important. To move a program forward, the kids are connected to each other, connected to the coaches. So I think it's going really well. Having local kids has really helped. I mean, one of Ed players, Jalen Duckett, is really he's very interesting. He's funny. Ed, you didn't tell me he was that funny, but Jalen Duckett is a really great kid. And we had the kid Kylan Mann that's from Western Branch, and Bobby Johnson from Western Branch, and Kamara Artis from Lakeland. It's amazing how close knit they are, and even being that they are from different rival schools. So Western Branch and Nansemond rival, and then Lakeland and Nansemond rival, and Lakeland and Western Branch. But those kids really are making a difference for us. They play huge minutes. They buying into what we're selling, and we're having success.
And if I can jump in there too, and Frankie, we want you to talk about other guys. And when Jalen had told me about being recruited by you and going there, and I told him what you stood for and what's going to happen, I felt comfortable because in a little bit of way he reminded me of you. He really worked at his craft, had a great senior year. And I just talked to him last night. He was at our game at Kings Fork, and fingers okay. And I said, you're not hitting that proverbial wall. He said, I don't know, Coach. He said, Coach Chapman, make sure we keep going forward. So he got Chapman on the mind all the time. But you got a guy in the middle. And Matt, I've seen these guys play a couple of times, and I'm going to see them this week. They play hard. I took 6 of my kids to watch them play Virginia Peninsula, Chris Moore's team over at Lakeland, where Camp plays their games. And there was no letdown from start to finish about intensity. And Camp pulled away, I think, won by like 15. But the intensity was unbelievable. And our kids were on the way home were telling me, Coach, I didn't think that was going to be that hard. And I said, well, what did you think? Was a rec game or something? Just because it's not Kentucky and Auburn or something, you guys went at it. And I said, by the way, I attribute to both those coaches. They make their kids go. But talk about your players, especially that kid in the middle, the big one from, and I think you got him from Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's from Pennsylvania. He's James Barlow. He's a 6'8" kid. He actually lead the nation in shot blocks. He averaged 8 shot blocks a game, 15 points, and 12 rebounds. He's just a man among boys. He works really hard at it. He competes really hard, and he's a humble kid. I mean, I will say I have kids that's really invested and they're doing their part. Like James is from Pennsylvania, his mom military, and they moved here, and so we got him in at Paul Camp, and he's doing really well. Being recruited pretty heavy as well to go to the next level.
Okay, good deal. That last name Ballo, I was wondering, is in relation to that Ballo from Arizona that's a shot blocking menace in the paint, but he's certainly doing big things for you, huh?
Yes. First game we played up in Petersburg. I can't think of the school. Not Patrick Henry. We have a tough schedule though. We in the Region 10. You have Patrick Henry. You have Sand Hills. I don't know how much you know about Sand Hills, but Sand Hill won the national championship 2 years ago, and they're loaded. We actually lost to them up there, and then we beat them here.
You played Richard Bland, right? Was that the first
Richard Bland? That's what I was thinking. Against Richard Bland, he had 15 block shots.
Wow.
He had 15 block shots against Richard Bland.
That's like when you had Nick Wright there, Ed. Swatting
Yes.
shots.
Now this kid's a little bit more filled out than Nick was.
Nick, right.
Nick was a pencil in there and a good shot blocker. But Frankie, in our waning moments here, what about some other kids, some names that maybe some ones that area people would remember? You mentioned Kamari Artis. I remember that kid was a pain in my butt. Can score, and he's still scoring. Bobby Johnson and Mans from Western Branch led that team under Paul Hart, did some great things too. And all those kids are still playing at a high level, as Frankie mentioned earlier. But is a couple other guys maybe that we need to hear about?
Yeah, we just added a kid, Charlie Chapman. That I don't know. Charlie Chapman is coming along. Charlie, he needs a lot of attention, but I'm willing to give it to him. He's really added something to us when it comes to he's very athletic, and he can defend pretty good, and actually he can score at a high rate. But we're trying to get him into that fold. Like I said, with Mann and Duckett and Artis and Johnson, they just have this connectivity that's second to none. When we get locked in defensively, we're keeping people under 60 points at the collegiate level, which is tough. We do what we want. One of our defensive goals is always to have shutouts. That means you get 3 stops in a row. Our goal is to have 11 shutouts a game, and if you do that, you have a chance to win. And we've done that a few times this year.
Well, Coach, we thank you so much for coming on the program today. I'm sure it's not going to be the last, even though it's the first time we've had you on this edition of the show. We wish you all the best the rest of the way. See you're doing some terrific things there. You said 13-4 overall, is that right?
14-4.
14-4 overall, so 7 straight wins. Go check them out there, Paul D. Camp Community College. And for those that want to see your next game in town, it is when?
Tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Going out
play home tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
And you play at Lakeland, right?
Yes, sir. At Lakeland High School, 1 o'clock.
So on Super Sunday, check it out, 1 o'clock before the Chiefs and Niners square off on the gridiron.
And where do they find your information, Frankie?
Uh,
At camphurricane.com. We have a website. Yes, sir. camphurricane.com.
So look it up online, camphurricanes.com. You can see the full schedule, the stats, the roster, the rundown for Franklin Chapman and his squad over there. All the best to you. We'll let you go. Hey, we'll get you on this. You got a Super Bowl prediction for us? Who you got? Niners, Chiefs?
No, I'm not gonna. No, I mean, I'm a big Cowboy fan, so I'm a little disappointed for not being.
Jeez.
So, Frankie, take the Chiefs. Bet $3, you'll win some money.
I wouldn't bet against the Chiefs anyway, so it's just kind of one of those things. So,
well, hey, thanks for coming on. All the best to you and your squad tomorrow and beyond, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Our guest here on Cova Sports TV and 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We'll take a timeout and come back with Serena Williams. She is the reporter that covers the National Football League for ProFootballTalk.com and NBC Sports. She'll give us the lowdown on the Niners and the Chiefs, her pick, her X Factor selection, and maybe an MVP choice too. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Hatfield and Young at the Plex or by the Piano Bar with Vinny and Groucho Marx and all kinds of special treats. You never know what you might see, hear, watch, and catch on this show. But, Ed, it's now time to hear from some of your favorite sponsors.
Oh, yes. Is there a little pizza in my future? How about some soup?
There could be a little bit of Chicho's Pizza in your future. Let's find out.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
It is senior night at Western Branch High School as they take on fellow Southeastern District Great Bridge. As here you see Ellis Wright, who has led the team for multiple years, getting introduced to his final home game. So we'll start off with the Bruins. Victor Parson passes to Stephen Walton. Pump fakes it, dribbles in. Nice jumper. And here the pass to Victor Parson for three. You bet. Beautiful jump shot by Parson. But wait, Christian Brown slams one home. But he's not done. He gets the steal, takes it back, and slams it with a poster. And here, Great Bridge mounting a little bit of a comeback as Dante Adams hit the three from the wing to shut up the crowd. And Christian Brown once again for three, drills it, Great Bridge. However, Ellis Wright puts this comeback to a halt. And here to end off the third quarter, the pass to Jaden Taylor, the senior, hits a three at the buzzer. To end off the third quarter, Great Bridge looking for something here as Dante Adams has a jump shot there. Great pass from Kelly King to Christian Brown, who finishes, but ultimately Jamari Parker with the final block to end this one. The Bruins would end up winning this one 73-51. I'm Jack Miller, Cobra Sports. Let's go.
And welcome back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk, where we are streaming all over the web on our YouTube channel with Cova Sports TV, as well as on Twitter or X at 757 Sports Talk, Instagram, Facebook, all over the place. And we thank you for tuning in wherever you may be. We are now privileged to be joined by one of the best in the business covering the National Football League. She's part of NBC Sports Pro Football Talk. You read her work all the time online. You see her work. Shireen Williams so kind of joined us from Vegas and the Super Bowl this weekend. Shireen, how you been? Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matthew. I've got a great view out the window of Allegiant Stadium. I think it's ready for these two teams. It's been a long week. I think we're all ready to go. We're fired up.
Yeah, I want to go there with you. Obviously, the city of being in Las Vegas for this Super Bowl, it's a special one. Obviously, it's a rematch from a few years back with San Francisco and Kansas City. And we actually have a little bit of a local angle for us here in Virginia because a couple of players on the Chiefs roster one of which has been dinged up, and Derek Nottie won a Super Bowl ring a few years ago. Also, Cole Christensen, a linebacker from Suffolk. But obviously, a lot of the talk about Taylor Swift and her relationship with Travis Kelce, but also in Sin City, Vegas. What's kind of your feel of the week, how it's been? There hasn't really been a whole lot of media hoopla or anything that's been a distraction, if you will. How would you kind of grade the week leading up to the big game this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's been fun. Vegas is Vegas. And I remember telling an NFL official many years ago now that wouldn't it be great to have a Super Bowl in Vegas? He said, absolutely, it'd be great to have a Super Bowl in Vegas. I agree with you. It'll never happen. So, 6 years ago, obviously the Supreme Court said we're going to have state-by-state gambling, and that kind of opened things up for a team to come to Vegas and now for the Super Bowl to be here. And I'm going to be really surprised if Vegas is not in the rotation, the Super Bowl rotation. And I think it will be back here sooner than later. We know the next 3, so it's not going to be back the next 3 years. And then I think they go back to Florida. So it's probably going to be looking at 5 to 6 year range. I think we're back here for another Super Bowl. It's been a great week. And like I said, Vegas is Vegas.
Yeah, I want to break down some of the game with you in a moment here, but it's interesting. I've heard some comments of some loving it, some disliking it. You certainly see all the different wagering, gambling ads everywhere you turn on TV, not just with the NFL, but all sports nowadays with whatever sports book it might be. And then you hear about all the detractors saying, the NFL, they're going to a city that, they were so against and all this with gambling. Nonetheless, we've had Super Bowls in the past where players get in trouble day before, week before, different things. So it feels like a lot of that's been curtailed and there's not as much, I guess you could say, drama or concern as maybe there was 10, 20, 25 years ago. Is that fair?
Yeah, they put the teams a long way out, and they did that by design, obviously. So they're about 35 to 40 minutes out by the lake. And, I'm sure they've come down to the Strip at times this week. There's no doubt they've done that, particularly on Tuesday, which was both teams' day off. I'm sure the players got down here to the Strip. But for the most part, they've really been out in that lake area of Vegas, away from all the activity. So I'm sure it has not been as much fun probably for them, a business trip. Patrick Mahomes said that if the Chiefs win this game, he'll bring the team back for a party here in Vegas, and it'll be a lot more fun when they can go out and have a great time. And I'm sure that'll happen if the Chiefs go on and win this game. But right now they're worried about the game. It's a business trip, and both teams seem to be treating it as a business trip.
Certainly the word immortality is there for Kansas City and Andy Reid, its coach, Patrick Mahomes, its quarterback, who may not even be halfway through his already storied career. This is for Andy Reid. Uncharted territory, another Super Bowl. He's got the second most postseason victories ever. Mahomes could get his 3rd ring. For them, are they the top storyline in building, along with Kelce and Swift right there, not far in the background? Or do you think it's Kyle Shanahan squashing the demons of after losing a Super Bowl to this team a few years ago as an assistant coach, the big lead with Atlanta against Belichick, Brady, and the Patriots? Which is kind of the bigger storyline? Is there something else besides those two in front and center for you?
Well, I think the Swift storyline has really won the week over. I mean, you go back to Goodell's press conference, and I was there on Monday. I mean, there were 24 questions asked. I think there must have been 5 questions to the commissioner about Taylor Swift and what she's done for the game. And she's brought in a different crowd for the game. And you look at Travis Kelce's jersey sales and everything else. So I think that she's brought in a younger, more female audience who maybe wasn't as keen on football before Taylor Swift began dating Travis Kelce. And now they're watching the games, and they'll be watching this game. And I'm not going to be surprised if this game sets a number of records for most viewers. We know it's the most watched thing on TV every single year, year after year after year. And it may be the most watched of anything ever coming up on Sunday. So, that's kind of dominated the headlines, frankly. For a pure, we haven't written anything about Taylor Swift because we're a pure football standpoint here. And, it has been more of the legacy of Patrick Mahomes and these Chiefs. I mean, you enter a rare company, as you said, immortality, when you win back-to-back championships. There's just something real special about that because it hasn't been done that much. And the last time was the 2003 and 2004 Patriots with Tom Brady. And the Chiefs had a chance to do that a few years ago, and they got blown out by Tampa, and they hope not to get blown out by the 49ers on Sunday, and hope to have that immortality. And I do think that Patrick Mahomes, with another victory in the Super Bowl, would kind of enter that conversation of the best ever. I mean, he's got a long way to go to match Tom Brady. I understand that. But just with what he's done at such a young age, you do start thinking about, is he going to catch Brady? Is he going to do all those things that Brady did? Winning one Super Bowl is really hard. Winning two is harder. Winning three is even harder than that. And then you just keep going. It's just not something that's easy to do. And, you look at the Dan Marinos of football, who got there at a young age, and we all said, oh, they'll be back. He'll get plenty of chances to win a Super Bowl. And he never won one. So it is really, really special with what Patrick Mahomes and this era of Chiefs are doing right now.
Yeah, to join a list with Joe Montana, as well as Tom Brady, Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman with 3+ Super Bowls. You've covered some of those great ones. Shereen Williams, so kind to join us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV and all over the web. She of NBC Sports Pro Football Talk. Follow her on Twitter or X as well at NFL Shereen to get more links and details of all that she does covering the sport. As we look at the checklist of the matchups and the positions, if you will, you say quarterback check, and that's no knock to Brock Purdy, who's done a very good job. You would say probably a check mark right now to the Chiefs' defense, even though San Francisco's defense was playing pretty well early in the year. Kicking game with Butker. You might get the slight check of coaching, not so much that Reed's better than Shanahan, but you also throw in Spagnuolo, a veteran defensive coordinator. You give the Niners a check mark maybe with more explosive weapons, beyond, say, Kelsey for the Chiefs. They have Ayuk, they have Samuel, they have Kittle, they have McCaffrey, player of the year guy. Where does San Francisco win this game, if they can win this game in your eyes?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I agree with you completely across the board. I would add one thing, and that would be offensive line. I definitely would give that to the 49ers. So that's the two areas, I think, the weapons and the offensive line, that I think favor the 49ers. I do think they're going to have to force some turnovers. I think they're going to have to play very well defensively, something they haven't done in the postseason. They played two really close games in the postseason, closer than most of us predicted, closer than most of us think both of those games should have been, but they won both of those games. I got way behind against the Lions and obviously had to rally and come back, and, could have lost the Packers too. So they've been in close games, so that might favor the 49ers too if it comes down to the wire, simply because they've been there over the last two games and had to pull those things out where the Chiefs have just kind of dominated, frankly, their competition, which was kind of surprising against the Ravens, but you never felt they were going to lose that game once the game kicked off, and the Chiefs kind of imposed their will from the beginning. But, they need to use all those weapons, obviously, and I think Kyle Shanahan will do a good job at that. I think the Chiefs' defense, as you pointed out, probably has less star players on it than 49ers, but gosh, they've played so well, especially in the postseason. And I think they're really underrated for how good they've played here late in the season and into the postseason. But high scoring, low scoring, I think it's going to be kind of in the middle there, maybe 24-20, 27-24. I do think it's going to be a close game that's going to come down to the end, and it may come down to whoever has the ball last. And you certainly don't want Patrick Mahomes, if you're the opponent, to have the ball last, because we saw what he did to Buffalo with 13 seconds left a few years ago in the AFC Championship game. So, you want to keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands as much as possible, and I think that's going to be a key for the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm with you completely, Shereen. I think it's in that 24-20, 28-24 type of game. And I've been going back and forth all week on who I think will ultimately win this. I'm a little surprised as many of the media pundits and those out there are leaning towards the Chiefs, because I felt like the Niners are the more complete team all year, though KC's raised its game in the playoffs. Maybe San Francisco getting behind in the games with the Lions and Packers gives you some skepticism, plus that quarterback edge there. Yet the odds makers still have San Francisco as a slight favorite for this game. From the KC angle here, their perspective there, more of a concern or adjustment you think you have to be made with that offensive line, which had some issues on the tackle spots? You got to block, obviously, Bosa coming off the edge and what San Francisco can present you. Is that A, the bigger concern, or is it for B, with Reed and Spags and that defense trying to keep McCaffrey, that maybe that biggest game changer in this game, from going off, catching the ball, running the ball? Where do you think they've got to make more of the adjustments or have the bigger concern early in this ball game and as it moves along?
Yeah, I do think it's their offensive line and protecting Patrick Mahomes and opening up the running game for Isaiah Pacheco to be able to run. I think that's going to be a key for the Chiefs as well. Officiating to me is going to be a big key. Are they going to let those tackles hold and play and, do what they do? Or are they going to call it really tight and call some holding penalties early that scares those tackles and keeps them from holding the rest of the way? I think that's one key to this game that you're going to have to watch, is what those officials do in the first quarter, how tightly they call this game, how many penalties are they going to put out there. I'd be willing to bet that they don't want to call very much, but they may call a holding penalty early just to say, we're watching it, just don't hold. We don't want to call this the whole entire game, but don't do it. And so I do think officiating is something to watch early, and how closely they're gonna officiate this game.
Very good point there. A couple more we'll let you run here, and I'll finish up with one outside the Super Bowl, just the sport in general and the week and off season, if you will. Is there a unit or a player or two that you feel like is not getting the attention that could be an X factor in this game? We always know about the headliners. We've talked about a lot of them with Mahomes and Kelsey, and obviously Samuel and Kittle and McCaffrey, the two defensive studs, if you will, on the edge there, with Bosa and Jones, which are scrolling across our ticker as the leaders in sacks with a dozen plus on the year. Give me maybe a unit or player or two that could swing this thing that people aren't paying attention to coming in, that maybe you've picked up during the week and you're studying, that could be real factors.
I think Nick Bolton is a guy to watch. And that, if you go back to last year's Super Bowl, he had the big play. He had the defensive touchdown that really got the Chiefs going. It could take something like that again from that defense. And he's always around the ball, always trying to force turnovers, always seems to be in the right place at the right time. I think he's one player who could make a huge difference that people haven't really talked about this week, who obviously had the big play last year and could have another one this year, the way he's always around the ball and moves so well. So he's kind of the guy I picked on our show to kind of maybe be the unsung hero again this year. And so I'll stick with Nick Bolton to make a big play to make a difference.
I like that one. Good pick there. And he has a big factor at linebacker, 10-plus tackles in 3 of the last 4 games I see, looking at some of the game notes here. How about Purdy for a moment? You think there's more pressure on him for this game, or do you think he comes in with a chip on his shoulder saying, all right, I was Mr. Irrelevant, my story, okay. I've heard people say this week, and I've heard this, you covered it too, Kurt Warner. I don't know if it's quite Kurt Warner-esque, but there's a lot of, that buzz to it, yet it hasn't gotten the attention. They say it's a mismatch at quarterback. And if you remember when Warner played his second one against Brady, people don't know who Brady was per se. What's your feeling on him in this game? Do you feel like there's pressure, or do you feel like there's a little bit of I want to go out and prove that I can play at this level and on the big stage?
Nothing has seemed to faze him, which has been probably the most impressive thing about Brock Purdy. Is it just whatever situation he's in, whatever has been dealt to him, whether it's the elbow injury, whether it's Kyle Shanahan coming to him and saying, hey, guess what? We're gonna see if Tom Brady's interested in being our quarterback next year. And if he is, how great is that going to be for you to sit on the bench and learn from the greatest of all time next year? And he just seems to handle all of those situations with class and just do things the right way, and nothing seems to faze him, and he doesn't get his feathers ruffled and all those cliches that I could go on and use. And I just think that that's what's impressed me most about Brock Purdy. So I don't think this game's going to be too big for him. I don't think the lights are going to be too bright. I don't think the stage is going to be too big. I expect him to come out and have a good game. You go back to Jimmy Garoppolo a few years ago when he played in this game, obviously, and they had a chance to win it late against the Chiefs, and he had one of the worst fourth quarters we've ever seen of a quarterback in the history of the Super Bowl. You're not going to see that from Brock Purdy. I'm going to be very surprised if that's the Brock Purdy we see in the fourth quarter. If this game's close in the fourth quarter, I'm going to give the 49ers a really good chance to win this game, because I just don't think that Brock Purdy is going to be fazed in a close game. like I said, the last two games they've played, he's pulled out close games and just done a very good job, especially in the Lions game, of coming back in the second half. So I expect him to play very well. And I think, I think he wants to prove something to people who still doubt him. And there are a lot of doubters still out there about Brock Purdy. But if he wins the Super Bowl, there's still going to be some people who say, yeah, but it's Deebo Samuel, it's Brandon Ayuk, it's Christian McCaffrey, it's this, it's that, it's George Kittle, it's that offensive line. It is all those things, but you still have to have a trigger man. You still have to have the quarterback to make those throws. And they've had quarterbacks there before, including Jimmy Garoppolo, who couldn't get it done. So Brock Purdy has a chance to do something really special that puts him in that conversation. In San Francisco, having won a Super Bowl with Steve Young and Joe Montana. Now, I'm not saying he's the greatest of all time if he wins a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying to win a Super Bowl for the 49ers puts you in that conversation with those guys as being a guy that can lead a team to the Super Bowl. And they should have, it's always hard to say, but they should have more opportunities after this with Shanahan's coaching, with Brock Purdy's play, with some of the weapons they have, and they will continue to have. They should have more opportunities to win more Super Bowls, but you never, ever, ever want to think you're going to get back, because Dan Marino thought he was going to be here a million times, and he never got back and never won one. And that's just one example of guys who would have thought Aaron Rodgers would only have one at this point in his career. So you never take these opportunities for granted. And when they come, you better take advantage of them.
You're so absolutely right, Shereen. I mean, I think people also thought Brett Favre would get to more than two, and he was on the verge of winning back-to-back, and he never got back. Came close with the Vikings when he left the Packers and had some snake-bit tough playoff losses. But the Chiefs going for their fifth Super Bowl. The Niners trying to win their sixth, their first since '94 with Steve Young when they beat the Chargers. Finish up on the game here, then we'll finish up on one more outside of it. Do you have it? You can make us wait for it online if you've got one. You have a pick, an MVP for us. What can they find out on the site as they check it out? Pro Football Talk and NBC Sports as we lead up to the game and then post-game as well.
Well, I do have an MVP vote, so that's going to be fun. I've voted a few times on this, so it's going to be fun to try to determine who's going to be the MVP. Hopefully it's an easy one. I hate when they're difficult. I like them when they're really easy to make those decisions. But as far as who wins the game, I think the Chiefs should win the game because of all the reasons you laid out there. I mean, they have the advantage at every possible angle you take, aside from the offensive line and the number of weapons that they have. But I just have a feeling, and maybe it's just my thought of how hard it is to win back-to-back championships, and the Chiefs had that opportunity a few years ago and got blown out. I'm just thinking about how hard it is to do this, to win back-to-back. And I just have a feeling that the 49ers are going to win this game because of that. That's my only, like I said, if you just look at it straight on paper, who should win this game? The Chiefs should win this game, but it's just a gut feeling I have that the 49ers are going to find a way to win this game. So I'm picking the 49ers in a close game, 27-24, 27-23, somewhere in that range. And I'll go with Christian McCaffrey for MVP because I think he's going to have to play a really big part in this game if they're going to have a chance to win it.
I can dig it. You know, I'm kind of on the same wavelength with you there, Shereen, because I feel like everybody's picking the Chiefs. It's so hard to do. They had the week off in between. They had to come off the grueling physical games with the Bills and the Ravens back to back, and then the game I think would hurt their chances even more. But I feel like this is a coin flip game. It's going to go down to the wire, maybe last possession. It could come down to a kick, and you definitely don't want Mahomes having it last if you're San Fran. We'll finish up with you. We thank you so much for the time here immensely. Obviously, the Pro Football Honors, the Hall of Fame class, off-season buzz, a lot of different coaching changes. Some teams not changing coaches that we thought might be changing. What's kind of gravitated you the last couple of days here and the week in Vegas, and then through the off-season as we finish up the season in the Super Bowl? What will you kind of be following most closely?
Well, you know, we were just talking today. You go to Monday. We're going to get home Monday, and the combines. We leave for the combine 2 weeks from Monday, so there is no off season. It's really crazy. Like you just start on next season in 2 weeks, and here we are talking about 2024, 2 weeks after we get done with the 2023 season. So it just seems like it never ends. We do have all the coaching. Head coaching positions finally filled, and then still some obviously assistant coaches to get done, and it's about time for the combine, and then free agency starts soon after that, and we're rolling into 2024.
She's one of the very best covering the National Football League. She was doing it for more than 30 seasons. Follow her on Twitter or X at NFL Shireen. Bill Nunn Award in 2018, Hall of Fame voter, past president of the PFWA, writer for Pro Football Talk, NBC Sports as well, and also a distinguished alum of Texas A&M. Shireen Williams, thank you so much. Enjoy the big game, your time in Vegas, and safe travels. We'll do it again sometime.
Thanks for having me, Matthew.
Our pleasure. That's Shireen Williams with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We'll take a timeout and come back with more right here. Let's hear from some of our sponsors that make it possible for us. You're watching Cova Sports TV.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
That's the DQ Cheeseburger Lovers Deal. 2 singles for $5 or 2 doubles for $7 for a limited time. So, how is it? Deal this good speaks for itself, I guess. DQ, happy tastes good.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar IV Hydration and Vitamin Therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel with Cova Sports TV. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter or X at 757 Sports Talk. Instagram links to TikTok all over the place. Ed hasn't learned to use InstaTalk, Snapface, Chatgram, any of those things as he likes to call it. But it is now time for our final predictions segment of the 2023-2024 football campaign. Let's take a look at the final standings, or the standings should say as of right now. Would you like to read those for us, Edward?
Well, here we go with Matt Hatfield in the lead, 35-27 and 1 tie, which they call pushing predictions for some reason. 6-3 in the playoffs. Bruce Pearl comes in at 31-27, 5 pushes, 4-5 in playoffs.
But yours truly, he was 3-0 in conference championship.
Yeah, you got to give it to him. Yours truly just struggling at 31-29-3. 4 and 5 in the playoffs. Most of the stuff is fixed. That's why I can't get the wins. And Hatfield has paid off people to make sure I lose. And, it's just the way it is.
All right. Well, would you like to see Bruce's pick? Since he's coming off a 3-0 week, we got to let him go first, right?
Yeah, he's only natural. The leader goes first. Yeah, we do that.
He is the leader. He is the top dog. Woof, woof. He's barking. Woof, woof. All right, here we go. Bruce's picks. Kansas City. Coin toss, heads, first TD, Travis Kelce. Oh, we got one more pick that didn't make the screen. We're gonna put that up there in a second. Let's edit that because he did have one more. He actually had 2 more picks. So let's edit the Bruce's picks here for the Soupy Bowl, as they call it. All right, let's fix that here. So he's got and he's got the MVP. You're gonna be surprised. Who do you think he's got for MVP, Ed?
You picked San Francisco to win? No, Chiefs to win.
City to win. There you go. There it is on the screen.
Mahomes.
There it is.
I mean, come on now.
Come on now.
Kansas City wins, Mahomes the MVP, period. No other person has a shot. And if San Francisco wins, if he has a good game, Purdy, if McCaffrey scores 2 touchdowns, he'll get MVP.
Well, to make it simple, instead of going with all these gazillion props about how long Reba McEntire's anthem's going to be, how many commercial cutaways to Taylor Swift, would you want to stay with this standard 5 here that Bruce gave you of who wins the toss, first TD, over, under, and MVP? Would you like to stay with that standard, or do you want to go with one of your Christian McCaffrey's going to score a touchdown for minus 250 like you did 2 weeks ago, like a obvious dude, and he got 2 of them, not 1, which you should have gone with multi, not 1. You would have won that too.
Yeah, I think he gets 2 in this game.
Okay, well, what do you want to do for the picks? Because I get to go before you here for we alternate to 3. But I say we just go with the standard 5 that Bruce went with. Why not, right? It's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's simple. He set the tone for it. We can do that.
I'm going to go with the score, though, for you. I'm going to give you, as much as I said with Shireen, and she did too, KC, everything lines up to them. I've just got a funny feeling that everybody in America is not going to be right. I mean, this has been a week where we see crazy things happen. Cue the Detroit Pistons down 23 against the Portland Trailblazers the other night. That's another story of our time. As well as some other things that have happened. Another story of our time. But I will tell you.
Guys not getting paid like they should be. All kind of stuff going on.
San Francisco, 28. Kansas City 24. For the over-under, that would put me over 47.5 like Bruce. I will go with tails because it never fails. I oppo Bruce on that. First TD, I don't think it's going to be Travis Kelce, even though that makes the most sense. And as I look at the odds to see what your odds are for first TD, by the way, for some reason I'm showing TD, but I'm not showing first TD. Are you showing first TD yet, Ed?
No, I'm not. I haven't looked at it. I looked at some prop bets, but I didn't.
I'm showing first. Here we go. I'm showing first. Okay, first. So for Kelce, it's plus 750 for Bruce there. I'm going to go for first TD to be, believe it or not, I'm going to go Isaiah Pacheco at plus 500. I could go with the real dark horse, which is Rashee Rice. I don't even see him on the board. My gracious, he's not on the board. How's he not on the board, Rice? Oh yeah, it's plus 950 Rashee Rice. That's a shrewd one there for Casey as well. And then I'll go with the MVP to be C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey, since I have them winning the ball game. All right. You're up, Edward.
Give me Kansas City 32-27.
32-27. Wow. Okay.
I switched from San Francisco last week to Kansas City. I've been brainwashed. For all the things.
Not the first or the last time that's happened, but go ahead.
No, I can easily be brainwashed. Sometimes not a whole lot to wash. It's a short job. Listen to your interview with Shireen. I would say you hit on all those key spots, but it just seems like this week the media has shifted over, and the pulling thing is Mahomes over Purdy.
Yeah.
You could put that on there. And I kind of think Spagnuolo will come up with some stuff to kind of confuse Purdy. It's hard to confuse Mahomes. She made a great point. San Francisco line right now is a little better. Kansas City has a guy dinged up. I don't know if he's a starter, but they have a guy who's out from the line. I don't know if he's been out, but he's out. Of course, you don't get this far without a decent backup. I just think Mahomes finds a way to get it done. Yes, San Francisco has more talent. I get that. I think they're going to have to use McCaffrey a little bit more than just hand the ball to him. Get him out behind the linebackers, throw to him. I think that's going to be a key for them. And I think Pacheco will be big in this game. I think a little bit underrated. I think he's a tremendous running back, and he's a hard guy to bring down. He's not that big. Hard guy to bring down. Easy to look at Travis Kelce as the guy, but, you know, Kittle's not no bag of bones over there with San Francisco. He just doesn't have a starlet on him. I don't know if he's married or not, but and by the way,
Mahomes has got Brittany Mahomes. You didn't see she's going to be on the SI cover. I guess you don't get that.
Oh no, Mahomes does. But I was saying Kittle.
Kittle,
tight end for San Francisco, who's pretty good himself.
I misheard you. Okay.
Yeah, Swifty. By the way, you know they say she's doing a show in Tokyo. Will she be at the game? But she has a private jet, so I'm sure
she can't miss that game. Well, you got heads or tails?
You know, I normally take tails, but since you're taking it, I'll take heads.
You and Bruce agree. So you're copying Bruce already through 3 picks. Well, you've copied the first TD while you're at it.
When you go third, you have to, and in one game, what the hell, you've got to pick what everybody else
Hey, Don't be dropping bad words like her boy earlier. Dropping an S-bomb.
Hey, heads, it's Eds. That's why I go with. Tails, you lose. And you took tails. He took heads. Is there a third coin? Is there a third
Ask Vinny. Ask Vinny. I'm done with you. Ask Vinny. Okay, I can bring Groucho back. Ask Vinny.
Vinny says
first TD.
Heads. Look at head.
Okay.
Vinny says head.
Who's Vinny got for first TD and MVP?
First TD, McCaffrey.
All right, C-Mac, CMC, which, by the way, I bet it's the shortest odds on the boards. You love taking C-Mac with little odds.
No. And give me, if the Chiefs win, it's Mahomes. If San Francisco wins, McCaffrey or Purdy. I mean.
So we'll pick one. You got to pick. You're going KC.
If I'm going KC, I have to pick Mahomes.
You don't have to. You can pick Kelsey because the Swiftie votes could influence it greatly.
No. I understand why they show her. She made your interviewer person made a great point. She has 22 million followers.
Interview person, I like that. Shereen Williams is her name.
Yeah, the Swift Dustbusters. So she's bringing in, and the NFL, like any other sports, all about money. They're going to show her 19 times. That's the one stat I haven't seen. How many times are they going to show Swiftie? I would say probably 8 in this game, at least 8 times. By the way, here's my other cool prop bet that you didn't come up with. What is going to be coming out of the ice cooler bath? I'm going with orange.
Orange Gatorade?
Orange Gatorade.
I
think it's orange Gatorade.
It could be orange for the Niners. All right, so there you go. To recap, Ed's got Chiefs 32-27 over heads, first TD McCaffrey and MVP Mahomes. Bruce has got Chiefs over 47.5 heads, first TD Kelsey at plus 750, and the MVP to be Mahomes. I've got the Niners 28-24 over to 47.5. Tails, it never fails. First TD to be Pacheco at plus 500, and the MVP to be Christian McCaffrey. That's going to do it for this edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk. We thank all of our guests, including the likes of Franklin Chapman, Shereen Williams, Eric Brown of the Hampton Crabbers, for Jack Lowe, Nick Senti, Chuck Thornton, our entire team, the coach Ed Young, Vinny and Groucho Marx. I'm Matt Hatfield. Like, share, and subscribe to our Cova Sports TV channel. You can also go up there and check out Jack Lowe's interview with Ellis Wright, who just scored 1,000 career points, and Coach Charles Thomas. We couldn't squeeze it in today for time purposes, but we'll be back next week post Super Bowl to talk high school basketball playoffs with you. Playoffs because it starts on Friday. Maybe we'll discuss why if you pick the guy that wins the PGA event last week and Wyndham Clark through 3 rounds and they cancel the choice, should your pick be voided or not? Someone's got a bone to pick about that. That's for a future episode as well. Vinny has some thoughts, I'm sure, too, on that.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, it is. It's got someone.
You got Monarchs today?
Monarchs, the women at Kent State, the Golden Flashes, a.k.a. Rod Johnson University, so I'll go get to see his old stomping grounds. We'll talk to you next time. 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Enjoy the Super Sunday, Edward. We'll see you around.
Will do.
Until next time, thanks for tuning in. Have a great extravaganza Super Bowl Sunday.